the Society of Actuaries Student Success Program, and the representatives are here. There is Sophie and there is Lee with the Infinite Actuary. Is an initiative that was designed to introduce high-performing math and science students to the actuarial profession in the developing markets. And we are very glad that Kenya is one of the beneficiaries of this initiative. And it aims to increase the number of actuarial science students pursuing academic careers and achieving actuarial designations. The program supports outstanding students who demonstrate academic excellence in target areas. So some of the goals are equipping students with the tools needed to pass the SOA exams, and then to promote awareness of the Society of Actuaries, grow the actuarial profession in developing markets, and provide a networking platform for students. So benefits of this program is you'll have reduced financial barriers for SOA preliminary exams, and there will be increased chances of passing the exams through comprehensive study support. And that's where the Infinite Actuaries, TIA, come in. You have access to a network of actuarial professionals. You are likely to pass the exams when you achieve like 240 practice questions on the TIA platform. So I'll first introduce Sophie to give us a background about the program and SOA. Then I'll ask Sophie to invite Lee to
Okay.
talk through the rest. Thank
Fantastic, John, right? Thank you so much for giving us a time to talk about this program again. I think you've done a really good job giving an overview of what the program is. We call it student success because we feel that you students will be successful at being part of this program and then taking your mock exam and then taking SOA exams and passing them successfully. As John said, the key of this program is really to use the platform. You're not going to gain anything if you're in the program and you're not using the platform. You have to do the exams, you have to put in the time, but we cannot guarantee you that if you will that, you will pass, but you will have a really high chance to do so. Now, before we go on, I would like to ask those of you who are brave to turn on your camera. It will be awesome to see who we're talking to. No pressure, but if you are willing, I would love to see, I would like to see you all because it creates that relationship and that bond, when you see each other. So, but I think for now, that is all I have to say. The program is very new. So something that I would ask kindly is to bear with us if there are particular situations where we don't necessarily have the answer right away. Like, for example, in this situation where you had 200 plus students interested in the program, which is amazing. Really, round of applause. You have done an amazing job. Now we have to figure out, how to narrow that number because 200 will be a little too many to have in the program for a cohort. So I will pass it on to Lee, and then we'll go back and forth, answering any questions and any guidance that we can provide.
Sure. So I'm not exactly clear what the goal is, but my plan is to show how the student will register into the practice product that we'll be using this week to prepare for and then take the gateway exam to see who will be supported. And then, as time allows, I thought I might also demonstrate what it will look like for the students that are chosen and how they should plan to prepare for the mock exam, which they will use to gain access to the free real exam. So that's
And
my
Lee,
plan.
Lee, just to make sure that everyone understands the language, the gateway exam is just what we talked about, the exam that we're going to do to narrow down the list.
Yeah, I believe
Is that-
that's going to take place this Friday, maybe? Okay. So now, this is what you will receive as a student to prepare for the gateway exam is a little bit of instructions that will include a link to help you register for the practice product. And so the link for FM looks like this. I'm going to just paste it into the menu bar. It's theinfiniteactuary.com/redeem/gateway exam _Kenya_FM. And that's what you'll be getting. So when you go to that site, you'll see this screen. Actually, let me sign out first and then do that. So you'll see, if you haven't ever been to the Infinite Actuary before, you'll see this screen that asks you either to log in or to create your account first. So you do have to create an account on our website in order for this to work. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and log in. And do one of the hardest things in the world, which is type a password in front of people. Okay, so now I've got here, and this is the next screen that you'll see. And now I'm simply going to redeem this coupon. And now I actually have access to Exam FM. And so I'm going to click on this Exam FM product, and that's going to cause me to be brought to our learning platform called TIA Study. However, there are only a few things that we have available to us during this practice period before the gateway exam. You have access to all the practice problems. You will be able to see that there are sample exams, but you don't have access to these 3 sample exams. You might notice that this is number 3, this is number 4, and this is number 5. Where are number 1 and number 2? Those have been hidden, and one of the 2 of them will be chosen as the gateway exam and will be used for the gateway exam. And at the time of the exam, then that exam will be unhidden and you'll be able to take it. And so that will be done in a CBT or a computer-based testing like environment. But before the gateway exam takes place, you have the opportunity to practice problems in the system. And obviously, the more that you practice, the better you'll likely do on the gateway exam, and the better chance you'll have of being chosen for support with this program. There are in our study platform also lessons. The lessons that are marked in purple are the ones that you have access to as a practice student. Not very many of them, but there are a few. And there are a couple of flashcards as well. And these are tools that you will be able to use if you're chosen for support in the system, in the program. So that's basically it for the practice time period. You can use the practice, the guided practice, or you can come in to browse all problems and practice specific topics if you'd like. But in general, you want to do as much practice as you can over these next week or 2 weeks until the gateway exam takes place. And then that's the process. Now, this is what happened for FM, but there will be a similar link and code for Exam P. So if you're choosing to try for the Exam P gateway exam, you can use that one, for FM for this one. But once you are accepted into the program, you'll get, basically, it'll be the same process. There will be a new code, and you'll go and register for a new product, and that product will be our entire course, not simply this restricted version that only has access to practice problems, but rather the version that has access to all the lessons, all the flashcards, all the practice problems, and also our scheduling tool, the Today View. And I want to show you what that will look like. So I'm going to switch my course to, actually, I guess I'm not. I don't have access to it right now. And let me think just for a second. Let me stop sharing and make a change so that I can demonstrate what I want to do here. Take me just a second. If anyone has a question, I could probably try to take that now as well.
Lee, I do have a question. So the weight gate exam, what is the passing score?
It's I don't know that there is one, Sophie. They're trying to
Oh,
choose
okay.
the best so many
Okay.
students. So yeah, I guess
It's
do
up
as
to
well as you
them
can.
to, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody have any questions in the meantime?
I know, Sophie, you had already asked, you had already talked about gateway and mock exams, what the gateway exams is. Could you reiterate it?
The
Yeah.
date?
No,
Uh,
I think what the difference is between the exams, is that correct?
that's correct.
Yeah. Yeah. So the gateway exam is an exam we'll be using to determine which students get support in this process. But the students that are now chosen will have the opportunity to study all of the materials and then maybe have the opportunity to take the SOA exam, the real exam, for free. But in order to get to take the real exam for free, then they will have to pass a mock exam about 1 month or so before the real exam takes place. And that mock exam will be a different sample exam from the infant actuary. Does that make sense?
So it's a three step right now. Okay, so first is the
Mm-hmm.
kind of like the short list, the gateway, like the word implies. We're gonna see who is prepared to who has the highest score to enter into the program. Remember, we're trying to choose students who have a very high aptitude for math and who most likely pass SOA exams. So that's the first one. Then the second one is you enter into the program and you have access, as Lee said, to all of the tools at the platform. And then you're going to take the MAC exam. And I think you all you understand what that mock exam is. It's kind of like a try that is going to be very, very similar to what you would encounter at the SOA exam. Those students who pass with a 60%, right, Lee? 60%,
I believe that's right.
on the
Yes.
on the mock exam, then you will get a fee waiver to take the SOA exam. And if anything of that is not clear, go ahead. Feel free to send me a text or a chat, and we can explain further.
All right. So now here we are in the exam P materials. And you can't tell that yet, but if we go into learn, we can see we've got probability topics here. And you can also see all the purple stuff has gone away because now I have been one of the people that did the best on the gateway exam. I've gotten support for this program, and now I have full access to this product. And this is the one for exam P. The one for exam FM will look similar. But you can see this part hasn't really changed other than the number of practice problems, which is a little different between P and FM. But because when you were practicing only, you had access just to practice. But now we have access to all of the lessons. I can change the way that looks. You can see how many lessons are here. The gray ones are ones I haven't watched yet. I have also access to all of the flashcards, but there are not very many flashcards for P. There are a few more flashcards for FM. I also have full access to the discussion forums for the course where I can ask questions. But what I want to show you primarily is the way to use this product to help you prepare for the exam, and that is to use the Today view to help you schedule your time to actually get this done. So I'm going to click Get Started, and then I'm going to choose a date. Now, I think let's maybe suggest that we're preparing for the March exam for exam P here. Now, it shows dates from March 14th to March 25 because that's when the real exam will take place from the SOA. But actually, we need to prepare to be ready for our mock exam 1 month before so that we actually can get access to this real exam for free. So I'm going to click on this set of dates, but then I'm not actually going to choose one of those dates because I don't want to be prepared in time for the real exam. I actually want to be prepared in time for the mock exam. So the real exam starts the 14th. So I'm going to go actually back all the way to February, let's say February 7th. I'm not exactly sure when the mock exam will be. Maybe it will be around February 7th. So I'm going to choose that day as the day that I want to finish preparing for the exam. I want to be done because I want to be completely prepared in time for the mock exam. All right. I need to move that out of my way. There we go. All right. Now, once I've picked the day I want to finish the exam by, it's going to probably warn me and say, oh, gee, are you sure that's not a real exam date? Yes, for our program, we're sure we don't want to choose a real exam date. We want an earlier date because of the mock exam. Now you choose which days of the week that you typically choose to study. For me, that's often Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And once you've chosen the days of the week that you typically would choose to study, then it will actually give you a detailed calendar so that you can adjust this calendar as you choose for your particular schedule. Here we have big holidays. The 25th is Christmas. I won't be studying on the 26th. I'm not going to study on New Year's Eve. I'm not going to study on New Year's Day. But when I get close to the time of the mock exam, which I think is on the 7th maybe, then I'm actually going to go ahead and study some extra days leading up to that mock exam. All right, so I've chosen the days I'm going to study, and I'm ready to move on. And it says I've chosen a total of 44 different days to study on to prepare for exam P. And it says, well, let's say 24 days to learn the material and 20 days to study. I'm not sure how prepared you are. Maybe you already know the material. Maybe we don't need 24 days to learn the material, and we'd rather have more time to practice and review. So we can use this slider here to adjust that. Maybe we'll do 18 days to learn the material and 26 days to practice and review. Or maybe we don't think 44 days is enough, and we're like, oh, I think I'm going to go back to my schedule and use the back button and say, let me add a few more days in here. I'm going to go back into January and add the 19th and the 17th. Okay, so I can adjust that if I want to add some more days. All right, so then once we've got this set the way we want, then we'll click Done. And the Today View will provide us with a schedule of exactly what we need to do every single day that we're going to study between now and the time of the mock exam. So we can see that on this first day here, we need to watch the introductory video, and we have 3 videos that have content, and then there's some other downloads, some PDF files to consider. And in general, we have a total of 45 minutes of videos to watch today. That doesn't mean that we need to only study for 45 minutes on this day. That means that's just the amount of video runtime. When we're watching the video, we need to pause the video and try any practice problems or examples that are demonstrated in the video prior to watching those being solved in the video. Also, after every lesson, we have a couple of practice problems that we ask you to work before you view the next lesson to help you lock in your memory of the things that you just learned in the previous lesson. So it will take probably twice as much time or a little bit longer in order to finish your studying for the day. So for 45 minutes of video, you might want an hour and a half, even as much as 2 hours of study time. But that's not an unreasonable amount of time for a given day. Most folks can concentrate for that much time, so that's probably okay. But let's check a couple of other days. The next day, I have a total of 54 minutes of video, so I'll probably will need about 2 hours on that day, but still not too bad. The next day I have 58 minutes of video, and it will vary slightly. The next day of 46 minutes of video, and so on. But the special thing about the Today View is what happens if I actually don't do any of the things that I'm supposed to do today? What will happen when I come back tomorrow? Will I see, instead of 54 minutes of video, an hour and 40 minutes of video, making that a very hard day to finish? No. Instead, what you will see is probably these same 3 videos from today, and maybe one of these videos from tomorrow, and a total runtime of probably close to an hour. That is to say, the Today View is going to spread out all of the activities that you need to do over all of the days that you have left. You won't need to worry about having one day that's extra hard. All the days will get a little bit harder instead. And the more days you miss, the more difficult all the future days will get. On the other hand, if you work ahead, then all of your future days will get a little bit easier. But the Today View is going to manage that for you. All you have to do is come in, start clicking these links, watching the lessons, and doing the problems. And if you do that every day, you'll be prepared in time for the exam. Now, once I get to the end of the time period where I've learned the material, then I'm ready to practice and review. And right now it shows that I need to work 31 problems correctly every day during the practice and review period. That number will probably decrease because we'll finish a number of practice problems during the learn phase. And so as a result, we probably won't need 31 practice problems correct every day. But you can see it would be nice to have a little bit more than 44 or 46 days. So you may want to add a few more study days if you can. And also we're going to empty our review inbox. And that's simply a spaced repetition algorithm based collection of flashcards that you'll find here in our review tab. That won't take very long, especially for exam P, which doesn't have very many flashcards at all. But working 31 practice problems correctly, that's probably going to take you a couple of hours, maybe even 3. So it would be nice if you practice more problems during the learn phase, so the number of practice problems remaining would be less. Now, we can actually also adjust that and make it so that we don't actually have as our goal to complete all 800 problems. We could maybe say, let's try to complete 90% of the problems. That would still be a pretty good goal, although obviously the more practice problems you do, the better prepared you're going to be. So I'll save that target percentage and it says, okay, now I only need to work 28 practice problems correctly each day during the practice and review period. Now, when we get toward the end of the practice and review period, we see we have a couple of sample exams scheduled here. And the reason for that is that we currently have a couple of our practice exams hidden, as I mentioned before. So you'll have a couple of additional practice exams that you can use. And one of those will be used for the mock exam, and the other one will be for you to use to practice on your own. And that's currently scheduled to be a couple of days prior to the real exam. Prior to the date of the mock exam. But you can change that date to be any other date you want. There's a place here to edit your sample exam schedule and move those sample exams to other dates. I would say with only one sample exam available, or maybe 2, you would want to leave at least 2 or 3 days after you take the sample exam to make sure that you have time to figure out what you did wrong, why those things went wrong, and how you can avoid making those errors when you take the mock exam. All right, so that's how the Today View works, and it's very simple. You come to TIA Study every day, click on the links in the Today View, and just simply go from one item to the next and complete your study for the day. So if you can do all of that, as Sophie mentioned before, your likelihood of being successful on the mock exam and also on the real exam are quite high. What she mentioned before was that in previous iterations of this program in some other places, the students that were successful tended to be students that had answered at least 200 and I think she said 270 problems or something along those lines.
Yeah.
As you can see, we have a little over 800 problems. The more problems you practice, the better your chances are going to be to succeed.
Lee, I would like to really reiterate how good this calendar today system is. If we had a system like this for everyday life, for everything, it would be so simple when you didn't do all the things that you're supposed to do the week before, or the day before, and this platform will spread it out. I think that is amazing. That it's really good.
Yeah. I actually think the even more important part of it, Sophie, is the fact that as a student, you don't need to try to figure out before you start, what should I be doing every single different day that I'm going to study on? How much do I need to do on this day to make sure I'm ready for this project at the end? It's about a 200 to 300 hour preparation process. And that's a very large project that's very hard to manage. And you don't have to make any decisions, not which practice problems should I actually work today, which lessons should I watch today, how much do I need to do today to make sure I'm ready in time. No, don't worry about any of that. Simply set up your Today View schedule and then come and do every day what it tells you to do.
It's amazing. I want that for my everyday life. There's a couple of questions that I actually would like to address before we go on. Sylvia is asking if both exams will be held at the same time. I think, Sylvia, are you asking about exam P and FM? Because we're gonna do for each for this cohort, and Lee, correct me if I'm wrong. For this cohort, we're doing exam P? No, FM.
We're doing both, I think. As far as I'm
Okay.
aware.
Okay.
But,
okay.
So the answers to those questions are for the gateway exam. Obviously, it's entirely up to the organizers. It could be that
Okay.
those are given at the same time. It could be
Okay.
that you want to give them on successive days so that students have the opportunity to take both and don't do them on the same day. That's entirely up to you. The real exam are not taken all at the same time because
Right.
the SOA schedules the exam P. I'm trying to both scroll and think at the same time. So FM is sitting right now, December 2nd through the 13th, and it won't sit again until February and then April. Exam P will sit in January, and then it will sit in March, and then it will sit in May. So for each of those, we need to take the mock exam about 1 month prior. So that means that the FM exam and the P exam, mock exams, could be as much as a month different from one another. They don't need to be done at the same time. In fact, that wouldn't be ideal because we want to give the students the maximum amount of time possible to prepare for the mock exam in each case.
How many hours would you expect from your experience would be required by the students for the gateway exams?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, obviously it will depend to a certain extent on how well prepared the students are before they begin. Some students will have already learned the topics in the course. They may need significantly less hours. Some students may not already know the ideas and the material and will need to watch all the lessons and carefully study that as well. They would need much more time. In general, for exam P, I would say, between 100 and 200 hours is probably an appropriate amount. And again, some students will need more like 200 hours. Some may need more like 100 hours. FM is probably in the same general ballpark. Again, depending on how well prepared the student is prior to beginning the materials. Yeah, there's a question in the chat now I can address better with my voice than with typing. And the question is, what will be on the gateway exam? And the answer is everything. And so there's not an ability for me to change that. The sample exams are designed to prepare for the real exam. We're using a sample exam as our gateway exam. And the student has asked, is it really, I think basically I'm rephrasing, is it really reasonable to learn all the material in 1 week? No, it's definitely not reasonable to learn all the material in 1 week. I think this is the reason that this is being done is simply because the student success program is not able to handle the 200 or more students that would like to be a part of it. And so as a result, the students that are already the most prepared for these exams are going to be the students that are chosen for the student success program. And the way that they will indicate that they are already the most prepared is by being able to score the best, better than the other students on the gateway exam. And so it's possible that most students will not get very many questions correct on the gateway exam if they really haven't prepared for the material before. Maybe you have some time and you can do some preparation in this 1 week period. My goal for allowing that extra period is primarily for you to have the chance to get used to how TIA study works and the way that it's used, so that when you take the gateway exam, you aren't brand new to the study platform. But there is no pass mark for the gateway exam. So that got the next question there. I think the point is simply to take the 30. I'm not sure how many students, guys, you're planning to take. Is it 20 to 30? But the 20 to 30 students that score the best on the exam. And so whatever that means, maybe the top students only get half of the questions, and that's fine. But they're still going to be the ones that scored the best that are chosen for the program. And again, please correct me if I've understood that incorrectly, John and Sophie.
Yeah, that is my understanding as well.
Yeah, as far as how many students will be chosen for this, the support for the student success program, I don't know exactly. That's going to be up to Sophie and the SOA in terms of how much, how much support they have available. And maybe also the local administrators of the program in terms of how many students they are capable of supporting
Yes.
as well.
So there is a question saying, hi Lee, how many students are needed for FM and P? So we don't have like specific number of students. Those students is going to be, like I just said, about 30 students who are going to be practicing for the exams. And I think that's the other questions were addressed. Yeah, I just see one that says, are we restricted to handling exam P or FM only? And the answer is yes. At this point, the student success is only for exams P and FM.
Well, one clarification on that, though, is that the student probably can take both gateway exams. It's simply when you get support from the student services program, if you win support, then you will only get FM or P, one or the other.
Correct.
Does that make sense, Sophie?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for the clarification. I think all the other questions in the Q&A we have addressed, but if anyone has any other questions, please feel free. If not, John and Sylvia, do you have any other questions or any comments?
Yes, we can have Samuel. Samuel, you can ask your question. You have access to the mic.
Okay, thank you so much. My question goes that what kind of materials are we having access to on the TIA for the gateway examination? Are they just notes or only questions, practice questions? Maybe for clarity on that.
I think for the
Right.
gateway.
Mhm.
No, go on. I think you said the
Yeah,
lessons and index
for
card.
the gateway, for the gateway exam, all the access you will have is to the practice problems. You will have one or two lessons available and one or two flashcards, but they're just free samples. The main what you have primarily is access to the practice problems.
And finally, for those who will be successful, when is the main SOA exam for the two papers and even the mock?
I mean, that's sort of up to the organizers and the SOA, but I think at the moment we're targeting the March exam P and the April exam FM. So that would be taking the real exam in March for exam P, and then taking the mock exam for exam P in February, and then taking the FM real exam in April and the mock FM exam in March. Please correct me if that's not correct.
You're good.
Thank you.
How long will the support take? Hold on. How long will the support take through all exams or the foundation ones only? So for each cohort, like if you're studying for exam P, for each exam, anyways, it's we're gonna give you're gonna have access to the platform for 6 months moving forward. So if you don't pass a mock exam, it will be up to the administrator if they will let you have another try. But it cannot extend more than 6 months.
Yeah, also, I believe at the moment, Sophie, this program is only designed to treat exam FM and exam P.
Yes,
Whether or not that will later extend to other exams is not clear.
absolutely. Yes, you're correct.
So Lee, I think this is for you. Collins has asked why he can't access any sample exam on the TIA platform, the first and the second sample exam for P.
Yeah, one of those two will be being used for the gateway exam, and we won't decide which one to use until just before the exam. And so that needs to remain unavailable for students in this week leading up to the gateway exam.
Okay.
And Lee, do they choose the administrator choose which exam to use, or
That's
you're
right.
gonna choose? Okay.
Yeah, the administrator would choose which exam to do, and then just do that right before the gateway exam is administered.
And is the access to revision material giving the team the whole content, or that will be in the forthcoming exams?
That's right. The practice problems that you have access to, all 800 or more of them, they cover the entire collection of material that could appear on the exam. They are not the same problems. The practice exam problem or the gateway exam and the mock exam problems will be different problems than the problems that you practice on. But the content that is addressed in the practice problems covers the entire exam.
Okay, thank you. So I think that is it. So in case you have any further questions, you can always share through the email, and then we'll forward them to Lee and Sophie. And Sophie, this perhaps you can answer how someone is asking if they are successful in passing both exams, can they be sponsored for other exams aside from FM and P? I guess.
Yeah. At this point, we are only covering exam P and FM. Whether we extend that to advanced exams, that is still to be determined. As of now, we do not.
And who is grading the exams, Lee?
Again, please.
Who is grading the exams?
The exams are automatically graded, and the administrators are able to see the results for each student immediately.
Okay.
What's the date?
Saturday the 21st.
Saturday the 21st. Yeah, we can make that work.
Awesome.
So, okay. So, is there a specific time?
No, it's up to you. The administrator will simply need to go in and and unhide the exam at whatever time you're ready to start, and then have the students take the exam.
One quick question. I think that for the last exams, you didn't have a location where to have like the mock exams. You have to rent a place. Lee, for this gateway exam, we're allowing students to just take it from their homes, and there is no special accommodations or anything. So
Yeah, I understand.
yeah.
Yes.
So any other questions? It's just it really helps to see people's faces and see each other. Like, we've said from the beginning, we want this to be a community too. It's just not you just studying by yourself. But there is this amazing group of students that are on the same journey as you are, and you can help each other. I've heard of some groups where they've created study groups to additional help each other and keep each other accountable. So but Okay, just give me a head. Go for like, go Kenya.
Go Kenya.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.